Welcome to the Friday Matinee here on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am T.
I'm George.
George, next week we won't be here because it'll be Christmas unless you want to,
I might have plans.
Yeah, you might have plans, yeah.
But, I know if we come in, we'll get double overtime. But no, it's weird because I haven't been here in a few weeks because a couple weeks ago I was really sick. I was just down for
You
the
were
count.
down.
And then last week because I was doing both shows.
Yes, you took over for me because I was away. Thank you, by the way.
And so I've been
There's no sleep, no rest for the wicked.
Christmas song, wonderfulness.
We'll be doing that until December 26th.
Well, for us, it's December 24th, so really
No, I'm here till the
4 days.
Yeah.
So we did the thing yesterday.
We did the thing.
It's going to be thinging this weekend and on Christmas Eve.
I am super excited. When I first started thinking, what would be really fun to give back to the community? And I had told this to Melissa when she did the news story yesterday. I said, people listen to us for their traffic, for their weather, and when there's a catastrophe or really big doings in the Santa Clarita Valley, people tune into us. I've been told 24/7, when there is a fire, you guys are on it, and I have my radio on. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to give something back to the community, something that they listen to us? And the idea of gathering around the radio with your family and in your feetsy jammies, because I can't be the only one who has those, right?
Right.
So gather around the radio and listen to a story. And so I started crafting this idea at how I wanted to do it, and I knew in a heartbeat who I wanted to write it. I knew in a heartbeat, having, heard him and read his things and just knowing how witty he was, I knew who that was. And then I brought in another gentleman very, very involved in the arts in our community with the Santa Clarita Shakespeare Festival, and he's an adjunct professor over at College of the Canyons in the theater department. I knew those guys, and I knew some of the talent. I knew I wanted you. I knew some of the other voices, and when it came down to brass tacks to present, the idea, the gentleman who is our guest today came through with flying colors, exactly had the idea that I wanted to work with. So with us today, your friend and great talent of the Santa Clarita Valley, Wade Bradford.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
I was going to go, okay, let's cut the commercial break. But Wade, of course, active in theater here, a teacher, an instructor at
Moorpark College.
Moorpark College. And also you are did I say playwright already?
No, but prolific playwright.
That's my short attention span. And again, did I say playwright already? No. A playwright, and your stuff has been published and it's out there. And I know they just did one of your plays at Einstein.
That's right. They did production of The Little Mermaid, one of my adaptations of Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale.
And that was one also that was presented at the Canyon Theater Guild.
That's right.
I think
2 years ago. 2 years ago, had its world premiere.
Time flies when you're having fun. And so you actually wrote this. It's called The Santa Interviews. Mm-hmm. And you can tell it's got Wade all over it. It was really fun to read and perform. And you wrote this. How long did it take you to put together? Or did you have it in the can ready to go?
I did. I had a version of it in the can. I actually I think it was about 2 years ago, they were asking for help with Hollapalooza at the Canyon Theater Guild. And so I was coming up with skit ideas, and I wrote an early draft of the Santa Interviews. And immediately after I wrote it, I knew that this is not right for Hollapalooza because, it's family-oriented, but it was really meant for older actors to play. And when you work with kids at Hollapalooza, sometimes they're teenagers, but a lot of times they're very young.
And Hollapalooza, by the way, is a fundraiser that the Canyon Theater Guild has every year right around Christmas time that features a plethora of young talent here in Santa Clarita, and it's a holiday-themed fundraiser.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff. So I put that in the drawer and put it away. And then when I talked with T and with David Steers about doing this, I came up with a lot of different ideas, and they all turned out badly. I
find that hard to believe. They'll come up later. Trust me, they'll come up somewhere later.
Yeah, I started coming up with. Have you guys heard of the musical Hamilton?
Yes.
I've heard it on Broadway. Right, so I'm obsessed with Hamilton right now.
He's a fascinating character.
Yes, so I started doing a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer parody of Hamilton, and I found out that it's very difficult to write rap songs about the North Pole. So I'm still working on that.
It'll come.
So maybe next year. But
you haven't had enough sugar yet. I think that's what's gonna.
So then when I was frustrated, I thought I've done something like this, a holiday theme. And then I remembered the Santa interviews, and I looked it up, and I added a little more pop culture, a little more. I lengthened it. I probably added, a good, 6 or 7 pages to the original script, which is just kind of a series of little sketches, and tried to make it a little more cohesive. And so that's when I handed it over to T, who adapted it for radio.
That's right. And I'm doing something really clever, like texting our station manager right now to see if we have any snippets of the Santa interviews.
Oh, well, our producer just walked down the hall, so he may have it in his pocket and on thumb drive.
But this was really fun to read, and honestly, I have been like so crazy busy, and also I didn't get a whole lot of information on it. You
came in and you kind of said it's going to be a cold read.
I'm a cold reader anyway. But it was so much fun. Your direction, though, you set it right up. Our illustrious producer has just stepped in of the Santa interviews.
And as I said, you were awesome, because once you read through the dialogue and basically had the words, you're very easy to direct. It's very easy to give you, what I would like to hear, and then have you do it.
Sauerkraut in your hands. It was awesome. Andrew Menjivar, who's producing this. So I just texted our illustrious station manager, asked if by any chance we have any snippets of the Santa diary or Santa interviews. Excuse me.
Oh, that's next year. The diaries.
Dear diary.
Dear diary.
About Rudolph. He did that thing again. He just stares all the time. But we didn't know if he had any snippets or anything that we could plug in
the next hour.
Just walked in with
that's what I said. You just walked in. Oh, you did.
But this is, to be clear, though, when we talk about the old style radio, now I had to mention this morning, it's not like we all talk like we are selling newspapers on the 1930s street going, well, Santa, that's a good idea. But we're talking about that just kind of fun, family-oriented radio. In a bigger picture, what I'd love to do, because I used to work in animation, and one of the things that I loved was Foley that we did along with our shows. So in a real world, what I'd like to do is have Foley
more
is
time.
Sound effects like footsteps,
doors closing, doorbells, etc. And in a bigger picture, because Wade will tell you, what did we meet a month ago about this? Mm-hmm. And it was, we hit the ground running, and everybody that was involved, from soup to nuts, talent, everyone, bang, 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 just did what they needed to do, was very professional, got it done. Minji's a hero, and I need to ply him with much more cups of coffee, because this kid is amazing.
And so
we'll take him down in a bigger world, in the next season or the next time we present something like this, that's my fantasy. I would love to be able to do an ensemble recording, have the Foley, have do a couple rehearsals, and do it like a serial, because I think people like it, and everyone we've spoken to about this, the response has been so fun to see and hear, because everyone's like, I want to be a part of that. I want to sit and do that. I want to be with my kids. So I think it's something that we could do from time to time, and
guess
people
what, Benji,
enjoy.
you're going to be animating something this time next year. So no pressure. No pressure. Okay. And you'll have probably as much or maybe a little less time than you did to produce this thing. Let's talk about this really quickly. Wade wrote it, and you're putting it together, and we finished at about maybe 10:30ish yesterday, and you just walked in at 12:15ish today.
24 hour.
With how much work was involved in putting all the sound effects, and also because we did different takes, you had to edit out all the different takes. And
so I had a lot of work. I started at 4 p.m. yesterday. Decided to finally take a break around 11 p.m. And I finished it today at, I think, 10:30. So a full 24 hours from recording to finish.
Now, give us a little bit of info about you and how you came to do what you do. In a nutshell, briefly tell us what you're studying. You've got a future in this, but tell us.
Right. So originally, I didn't always want to do sound design, sound mixing, and stuff. I wanted to be a filmmaker, tell stories, visual. I'm a very visual person, but sound is sort of the thing that kind of just envelops and makes the picture. And so it
adds
seemed
that
like
crunchy quality.
every one of my filmmaker friends didn't know how to do sound, and they would come to me to do sound. So I figured, you know what? If everyone's coming to me to do sound, I figure I should probably get an education in knowing more how to, improve my own sound.
And you're wildly creative, which I like, because like Wade, your plays, you give this platform, the kind of the foundation. It's like the cake. You come in with that really delicious, the things that come out of the characters.
Now I'm hungry.
And you make them, you help with your words, you help the characters come to life. You really give them some texture. And then for someone like, the artist came in, like George came in to do the voice of it, and suddenly from your characterization and your life that you gave, he breathes life into it, and then Minji comes in and adds the other dimensions, and it becomes this really delightful, delicious thing that we get to serve up to the community. And I'm very excited that they'll have an opportunity to hear it this Saturday, Sunday, and Christmas Eve.
That's right. I don't know if it's ever going to be available on podcast. We know if that's
I really hope so, because I think it will sound better, like from the direct source of it.
And yeah, that's the thing too, and reminding people that if you don't have a warm, big, giant radio, like in the 1930s, that you all gather around, you can gather around the warmth of your computer.
Yes. It's all gather around the iPad.
Come along there, settle into your smartphone device. But you can go to hometownstation.com, click listen live, or use your smartphone and plug it into your stereo system and line in, and then you can download our free streaming app, so we can sound groovy, and Wade will be like, there I am in stereo.
There I am in stereo.
Well, in mono, but even still, through two speakers. So, Wade, on this, as a writer, and I'm noticing you're also, I want to talk, we still have, actually, we can talk a little bit about it now, but as a writer, you have so many things out there, because it's not just, and I need to go to your website and kind of get, because you how many plays do you usually write? You are
prolific.
I usually write at least 2 plays a year. I used to write more, but I've been writing children's books as well, so that sort of
that's right.
offsets.
You had one that came out a couple of years ago.
Yes, and my second children's book is finally coming out in 2016, sometime later on.
Nice.
In probably about 6 or 7 months, I think.
And what was the first one called?
The first one's called Why Do I Have to Make My Bed? Or A History of Messy Rooms. And the next one is called Around the World in a Bathtub.
Around the World in a bathtub.
Is this the one you've been doing the little doodles on?
No,
that's a different one.
That's a secret. Well, no, it's not secret. That's called Ducktown. I've been drawing a lot of ducks lately. I go over to California Pizza Kitchen in the pond by there, and I look at the ducks.
Wow! So.
And I've been cartooning them, and I've been trying to improve my artwork. So
they're amazing. I love the little. You kind of take pictures of splashes of different stuff you do, and I'm always fascinated by cartooning. It's something I've always wanted to learn how to do, because I do have like wacky ideas, but they'll come out kind of like really weird, funky, bad perspective, stickish figures.
You started with the photography, which you thought was going to be a lark, and look how amazing you are. So cartooning's
I've been doing
in your future.
Cartooning since I was like 9 or 10 years old.
No, but you're gonna. That's next, George. It's happening. It's happening.
It is.
Tell him.
I think I'm there where I'm at. And of course, Benji has been here for. Now, how long have you been here?
Over a year now.
Wow, oh no. Your expiration date's nearly up.
That's right. Oh boy, it's nice knowing you. Where's my toilet flush sounder? But really happy that you did this for us, and I think it's especially to take that extra time on top of everything else you're doing. And so, if you do have snippets, no, I'm just kidding. I won't throw it out your way.
I'll say this. Yesterday, I had a dual meeting, so I was like. In a meeting, meanwhile, I was editing this thing, and I was going back and forth, and I'm like, hey, do you kind of want to hear what I'm doing? And I gave them a little preview, and they literally, they closed their eyes, and they're like, whoa, dude, this is like, it's like I'm watching an episode of SpongeBob or something.
Oh, I'll take that compliment for us.
Sponge Santa. We're not going to get sued on it. But Wade, in this, because we don't just have the traditional, we do have the traditional holiday characters and a couple of elves that are named after some famous
some elves that don't really belong in Santa's workshop, but they showed up there.
They're named after a couple of retail establishments. And you have, but you have other characters. You came up with one that is not necessarily a Christmas character. Is that just something that came to you?
Are you talking about the elf that shows up from Lord of the Rings?
Yes.
I'm probably giving away spoiler. Yeah, in the original draft, I had certain elves that you wouldn't expect to be there. So there's the elf from Lord of the Rings. I also, in the original draft, had Dobby from Harry Potter.
Oh, Dobby.
Showed up. But since we already have other,
Right, yeah,
other sort of
yeah.
pop culture characters, then it didn't add much.
Right.
So I like to mash things up,
But
basically.
then the shtick with Frosty the Snowman going back and forth is just
Oh, and thank you for making that exactly how I imagined it.
Well,
as Georgie, he was when we were going through it yesterday. It's fun to bounce off. What about this? What about that?
Well, we had a lot of fun with it, and so it's the Santa interviews. This is a special. I don't think there's anything quite like it that we've done here, in the style of the old time kind of family gathering on the radio and listening to a radio story that you can hear about Santa needing to hire a new cookie supervisor.
And you don't need to have a family, by the way. If you want to cuddle up with your own mug of tea or beverage
You're
of choice.
pathetically alone on
No,
Christmas.
Don't listen to George. I'm going to kick him under the table.
Ouch.
There you go. But it's just something that is kind of fun. I'm sure it will make you smile. And it is something that I believe it doesn't necessarily have, you don't have to be a little kid or someone with a little kid to appreciate this. It's like the Muppets in some way, which is also a flavor I kind of wanted, and I knew Wade would have that. It's got a couple of jokes that are the kids aren't going to get, but the grown-ups are going to go, oh, I get that reference, and it has that kind of sensibility. So I think anyone would enjoy listening to this. So I encourage, if you're stuck in the car and you're driving to someone's house, this will be an opportunity to just have some entertainment that's different from staring down at a screen.
How sassy are some of Santa's reindeers, and what did happen to Scrooge after
Right? We get a little bit of that.
His moment of clarity, as it were. So there's a lot of fun stuff. And
staring down at your devices too much, George, you know that there's a phrase in the medical world that dermatologists and plastic surgeons call tech neck.
Tech neck?
This is going to prevent tech neck.
Prevents tech neck. All right. I feel like now we're doing something greater than ourselves, preventing tech neck, that you can lean back and close your eyes. And this is the thing. I don't know. Well, your parents are of that age too, but mine definitely were. Where they grew up, they didn't have television. That was the thing. You'd always regale stories of listening to stories instead of watching them on TV. So I think this is fascinating. Wade, we're going to keep you around because there's other.
All right.
There's more to talk about.
I want to find out the stuff that you got rejected. The ideas that didn't make it.
Right.
And also maybe we could talk a little bit about some of our favorite holiday type inspirational shows.
Maybe we can get a snippet.
We might know somebody.
We can get a snippet good. We will be back after these wonderful examples of capitalism. This is the Friday Matinee on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.